Hi, so today we are going to discuss some of the properties of joint probability matrix. So in the last session we have seen what is a joint probability matrix along with some other associated probabilities like input probability, output probability, input conditional probability, output conditional probability and joint probability, right? So now we are going to discuss three important properties of joint probability matrix. Let us come to the first property, that is the first property tells us how to obtain the probability of output symbols. Now we know that the probability of B1 is given by this expression, that is probability of receiving B1 when A1 is sent plus when A2 is sent plus its probability when AR is sent, right? So as we know, this particular product is nothing but P of A1 B1, right? So instead of these two terms I can rewrite it as P of A1 B1. Similarly, instead of these two terms I can rewrite it as P of A1 A2. Similarly, the last term can be rewritten as P of AR B1. Now I can see that the summation has R terms. In the first term, second term, R in the third term, I can see that B1 is always constant. But I have a different value of A, that is A1 in the first term, A2 in the second term and finally AR in the last term. So I can clearly say that since B1 is constant and A value is different, this is actually the sum of all the elements of first column in my joint probability matrix, right? So this is the first row first column element, this is second row first column element and finally this is rth row and first column element. So the terms on the right hand side of this equation are nothing but the first column elements of joint probability matrix. Therefore, we can obtain this P of B1 simply by adding the first column of joint probability matrix. Similarly, if I want to go ahead with probability of B2, I have to add up all the second column elements of joint probability matrix. Similarly, for probability of B3, I have to add up all the elements of third column in my joint probability matrix. In general, if I want to find out P of Bj, I have to add up all the elements of my jth column. So here, since my column remains same, that is j, my row value changes. I have taken the summation for I, varying between 1 to r. So this clearly says that if you add up all the column elements of the jth column in your joint probability matrix, you can obtain the output symbol Bj's probability, that is probability of Bj. So it is very clearly mentioned that in order to obtain the probability of output symbol, particular output symbol, add up all the column elements from the corresponding column of joint probability matrix. Next, coming to the second property, it will tell us how to obtain the probability of input symbol. So here for output symbol, we were considering how to obtain the output symbol probability by adding up the column elements. Now we will see how to obtain the probability of input symbols. Now P of A1 can be written as conditional probability multiplied with P of B1, right? That is probability of sending A1 when B1 was received and actually receiver says that it has received B1. Similarly, I have considered all possibilities of B's, that is output symbols, corresponding to a single input symbol A1 because I am interested in probability of A1 only. I can see that here A1 is constant throughout the expression, but in the first term we have B1, in the second term we have B2 and in the last term we have Bs. So I can rewrite this product as A1 B1, the second term this product as A1 B2. Similarly, this last term I can rewrite as A1 Bs. So I can see that this is the element corresponding to first row first column, this is first row second column and this is corresponding to first row and nth column of joint probability matrix. So these terms are again obtained from the same rows but from the different columns. So in order to obtain P of A1, what we have to do is sum up all the elements of the first row of your joint probability matrix, and that summation will give me the probability of input symbol A1. Similarly, if I want to obtain the probability of input symbol A2, I have to add up all the elements of second row in my joint probability matrix, right? That is what we are saying here. The terms on the right hand side of the above equation are in the first row of joint probability matrix. Therefore, we can obtain probability of A1 by adding all the elements of first row of joint probability matrix. In general, if I am interested in P of AI, I have to consider the ith row and combination of all the columns. So here the value of J will vary between 1 to S, and if I am interested in A1, here also I am considering A1. If I am interested in probability of A2, I will be considering P of A2 comma Bj, again where J varies between 1 to S. So the conclusion is that if I am interested in finding out the probability of ith input symbol, add all the elements of ith row in a joint probability matrix. So first property tells us how to calculate the output symbol probability, and second property says how to calculate the input symbol probability. Adding a column element will give me the output probability, and adding the row elements will give me the input symbol probability. Let's go to the third property. What is the sum of all the elements of joint probability matrix? Now let us consider the sum of all the input symbols P of A1, A2, A3 up to AR. P of A1, I know that it is nothing but the sum of all the elements of first row in my joint probability matrix. Similarly, P of A2 is nothing but sum of all the elements of second row in my joint probability matrix. Similarly, P of AR is nothing but sum of all the elements of last row in my joint probability matrix. So I have considered all the elements of joint probability matrix. However, I know that P of A1 up to P of AR, that is my left hand side value, is always equal to 1. Since this left hand side is always equal to 1, I can easily state that the sum of all these elements present in my joint probability matrix is always equal to 1. So I am taking summation for I and J, P of AI, Bj, where I value varies between 1 to R, J value varies between 1 to S, that is for output symbols, and its summation is always equal to 1. These are the three important properties of joint probability matrix. Now based on these properties, let us try to solve a problem. Okay. In a communication system, assume that your transmitter has three input symbols A1, A2, A3, and a receiver that receives three output symbols, that is B1, B2, B3. And this is our joint probability matrix given. So this is column corresponding to B1, column corresponding to B2, column corresponding to B3. This is column corresponding to A1, A2 and A3. This first term is nothing but the joint probability P of A1 comma B1. This third term is joint probability P of A1 B3. Second term is missing. Similarly, this is nothing but joint probability P of A2 comma B1, A2 comma B2, this is A2 comma B3, and so on. Okay. And P of Bj says what is the probability of receiving the output symbol. 1 by 3 is P of B1, this is P of B2, but P of B3 is not given here. Okay. We are supposed to find out the missing probabilities in the table. That means you have to find out what is this P of B3. You have to find out P of A1 comma B2, P of A3 comma B1, and P of A3 comma B3. Okay. Now initially try to find out this term P of B3. As we know, the sum of all input probabilities is equal to 1. Similarly, the sum of all output probabilities is equal to 1. That means that if I add up 1 by 3 plus 14 by 36 plus probability of B3 should be equal to 1. Okay. So P of B1 plus P of B2 up to P of Bs is equal to 1. In this case we have only 3 symbols. Therefore P of B1 I have substituted the given value of 1 by 3. P of B2 14 by 36. P of B3 is not given and we are supposed to find it. Their summation is always equal to 1. Since the only unknown parameter here is P of B3, I can easily find out, and its value I got it as 5 by 18. So I found one missing value, P of B3. Okay. So I got this value, P of B3. Now let us consider the remaining missing elements. From the first property of joint probability matrix, I know that P of B1 can be obtained by adding up all the first column elements of joint probability matrix, right? So here if I add up 1 by 12 plus 5 by 36 plus joint probability matrix A3 comma B1, its value should be equal to 1 divided by 3. Okay, the same thing we are writing here. 1 by 3 is the total value. This is first one, this is the second term, and this is our missing term. So we can easily find out this missing term, P of A3 B1. Similarly, to find out P of B2, we have to add up the second column element. So I have substituted whatever the values are given. This value is missing. If I equate them to 14 by 36, I can obtain the second term also. Similarly, by consider the third column elements, equate them to P of B3. We will obtain one more missing term, P of A3 comma B3. Okay. So now we have found all the missing terms. Next sub question is to find P of B3 divided by A1. That is output conditional probability and input conditional probability. So with the help of joint probabilities, we have to find out the conditional probabilities. We know how to express a joint probability matrix, joint probability in terms of conditional probability. So if I am interested in P of A1 B3, I can rewrite it as P of B3 by A1 into P of A1, right? So since I am now interested in P of B3 by A1, this is nothing but joint probability divided by P of A1. So I know this joint probability value 5 by 36, but P of A1 is not given. So I know that P of A1 is nothing but my input probability, and A1 is the first symbol. So I will add up all the elements of first row to obtain P of A1. That is according to the second probability of joint probability matrix. Now P of A1 by adding the first row elements will be equal to 1 divided by 3. So substitute it over here, 5 by 36 divided by 1 by 3. That gives me 5 divided by 12. Okay. Similarly, to find out P of A1 by B3, divide the joint probability with P of B3, which is here in the denominator. Okay. So this value I know from the given joint probability matrix, and P of B3 is nothing but 5 divided by 18. That is also from the matrix only. So its value turns out to be 1 divided by 2. Now the last question is to check if A1 and B1 are statistically independent. If we say that A1 and B1 are statistically independent, then their joint probability must always be equal to the product of their individual probabilities. That is, P of A1 B1 must be equal to P of A1 into P of B1. But P of A1 B1 is already known to us from the given joint probability matrix, which is equal to 1 divided by 12. Now let us see what is their product. P of A1 is equal to 1 by 3, right? That we found over here, right? And P of B1 is 1 by 3, which is given in the problem itself. Now P of A1 into P of B1 is equal to 1 by 9. Now I can see that 1 by 12 is not equal to 1 by 9. Therefore, A1 and B1 are not statistically independent. Okay, they are statistically dependent.